Well, hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Rusted Up Garage, where I am here solo. Yeah, that's right, just me. I got no helper today, or all week, or any of that. He had to go work out of town. But this is an exciting episode, okay? I know we've had a few boring ones, maybe for some of you. But this one is going to be good, okay? Yeah, it's going to be good. So what we're going to be doing in this episode, okay? What we're going to be doing, just, you ready? Are you guys ready for this? I don't know if you are, okay? I ain't seeing the excitement that we normally see on the channel, okay? But this is what we're doing. Oh yeah, that's right. You guys haven't seen this. Nope, you have not. We got the engine back. And look at that. Zach cut that in our valve covers. They tell me that ain't cool. So this is the infamous engine that came out of this truck. Okay? It was the Jasper 2,000-mile engine that we had to beat the camshaft out with a sledgehammer, because basically Zach is going to kill me with all the moving around I'm doing, because the cam bearings were worn through and the cam was already half eaten, and then we found out a bunch of other problems. This engine was, all I'm saying is after seeing this engine, I will never buy a Jasper engine. Okay? I'm just throwing that out there. But anyways, if you guys saw, we did a little dyno session. I know it's just a small clip. I'm sorry. It's just, we just built the engine, and we've built a lot of them, and I just didn't feel you guys probably wanted to see that over and over and over again. But it's going in the frame tonight. That's what's going to happen. Okay, so we're going to have to pick it up on the cherry picker and get the old transmission, the old Turbo 400. Now, we are going to build a 4L80E for it, but for right now, to save money, we're going to reuse that one. All I did was gave it a rebuild, you know what I mean? Lost the paperwork, but it's rebuilt. And then I am going to throw this old used, it ain't old, it's actually brand new. It's a GM4 tow. It's the used GM4 tow. I don't know. It's like a 1800, 2000 stall made for towing. It's for a 400. It's been on my shelf for 2 years. And I figured, hey, let's just heave her in here. So, this engine ended up turning out pretty good, I will say. So it's all used parts that we scavenged for it. Used heads and used valves. And that's a brand new Chinese intake though. That is the best Chinese intake right there. Look at that thing. That is a China intake right there. Nothing wrong with it. I put a new water pump on it, new accessory drives. And, I painted it, in Oldsmobile color because I felt that was the right thing to do. And I think that's it. So I got to get it on the cherry picker, put the motor mounts on it, put the torque converter in, put the transmission on, pick it up, put it in, set it down, set the headers on it so we can figure out what we're going to need for mufflers. We're going to do all that tonight. That sounds realistic, I think. I don't see a problem with us getting that done. Now, information on I'll tell you what. I'm going to put it in, and if you guys stick around for a little bit, I'll give you all the numbers on this thing, okay? It's not crazy, just a truck motor. We didn't go like crazy and build this big old behemoth. But from stock to what it is now, I'll give you the numbers. Just stay still. You're going to wait until we get it in, and then I'll bring you the numbers of what it dynoed at to what it was stock. Sound good, guys? Well, I got to put you on a tripod because my tripod's not here, known as Zach, okay? Let's get at this thing because it's cold, and can't run my heater when I'm on here, okay? I think this will work. This shop may just do it. Okay, well, as I'm doing all this, I will tell you that we did get rid of the peanut port heads and throw them right in the dump where they need to go, because no one likes a peanut port head. And so these are oval port heads, and they have been worked on a little bit. Not by me, by whoever owned them before me. Like I said, used. The valves, used. And they're pretty good valves from what I understand, what I was told anyway. I had taken this off. It was on. I took it off because I had to clear coat it. You know, the old KBS. Clear coat. So that way it stays looking pristine. You know, because we like them looking nice. Now, another thing I'll show you guys here in a little bit is how to stab a distributor in. So I learned a few new things on distributing distributors the proper way. And, you know, I'll share that information with you guys here in just a little bit. Actually, what I probably should do is pick it up here to start with and then change it after. Oh, let's get the old stand off of her. Okay, so that's good. Let's get that out of the way. Let's get our engine mounts. You know, we rejuvenated on these too. So they're pretty much new now. I washed all this stuff up last night, so I could do this tonight. I was hoping to do it tonight anyway. Okay. Now, so we're gonna have to lower it down. See how close that gets me. That's probably pretty close. Okay. You guys see what I'm doing? Oh, let's grab old Torquey. I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but we're gonna put old Torquey, the 12 converter in. Now, one thing I want to do, I'm gonna put a little bit of around it, a little bit of ultra slick. Now, when you put a torque converter in, you want to make sure it's going to be like 3 clunks to get it in there, okay? So, start off with putting it in like this. It's like 1. I know it's not all the way in. There's no way. Well, help me understand, because I know that's not in all the way. There's no way. Maybe it is in all the way. Well, maybe I did get it in all the way. It just didn't feel that to me. Like it quite was all the way in. Generally, I hear a solid third clunk. But we'll know here in a second. Because when it goes in, depends on how much play it has here. Another good way to tell if I actually got that in all the way or not is if the torque converter can still spin, and it is a mile away. Like I'm gonna have to put a couple spacers back there because it's so far. So, yep, we're good with that. So now this is done. I think I gotta change its position. So I think it's not gonna lift me up very square here. No, it's not. So, let's carefully let it down. Well, let's carefully bring it back up. Put a couple blocks under it in front here. This jack should actually work pretty good for this. Okay. Now we'll jack her up and prep her to go in the truck. There she is. Look at that beauty. Like a dream. Perfect. I mean, it's like brand new, but different. Okay, well, next we got to put some headers on it to mock them in. We got to drop a distributor in it, which I'll show you guys how I do with distributors. And then we got to paint some parts and get the front of this engine all dressed and ready to go. So then from there, drive shaft can go in. We can mock fuel stuff in. There's tons now to do that we got the engine in here. Ah, it looks so good. Zach's gonna be so excited. Okay, as I promised, we would set the distributor, and I told you guys that I'd show you how I drop in distributors. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of different ways to do this. Okay, and actually I kind of learned a new way. Well, it ain't completely new, but to how to actually get to know where it's going to fire, where I want it to be when I put it in. Okay. So first things first, you do got to get your engine up on compression stroke, which, you know, if you take out the number one spark plug, you roll it over until she goes and gives you the pressures like that. That's how you know. And you can tell because it'll start rolling up on your timing thing right here. Let's try this again. Somehow or another, I turned off the old camera, okay? Or I turned off the sound of the camera. So we're starting over. So I want to explain to you guys how I set the distributor in on these things to get them really close first shot. So again, I don't remember if I turned it off, but you know, you turn the motor over till you get the old when it comes out, you know, the number one plug. And when it's doing that compression, it's pushing out, you should be somewhere in your timing marks. So that way you know you're actually there, okay? So we went ahead and labeled, it's gonna be hard to see, but that's my 0, okay? That's my 0, and technically, way down here is my 0. So why is it way up here, you're asking? Okay, well, here's my little trick that I learned, and it works really well, okay? Now, we are going to a distributor that we're going to control with electronics, okay? So we're not gonna put in a regular vacuum activated advanced distributor. But if I was, I would just change this number. So for this particular distributor, I wanna put it in at 10 degrees, okay? So what I've done is I've actually put this on 10, and actually the balancer is actually just rolling the balancer too. And so it actually lines up, the 10 lines up here with this, okay? Now, when we put it in the shop for the dyno, we actually put it in, see that line right there? That line was way up here because we put it in at 30 because it was a regular HEI distributor, okay? So we wanted it in at 30. So if you want, say, an HEI in at 30 degrees, you would back this thing up to your 30 was hitting on 0. And now we're going to put the distributor in, okay? I'm doing 10, but again, if you're doing maybe an irregular HEI and you want it to be up around 30, you'd put it in right about here, okay? So we've gotten that established. Now we got the distributor, which is this one. So ours, again, is going to be controlled. This is actually one out of a later model truck that has the extra pins right here that I can control the timing with when I connect it up to the fuel injection that we're going to do, okay? But let's throw this puppy in, okay? Now, I did put some Molly grease down on this because it's brand new. I got my distributor gear. And I also know that number 1 is actually right here. That's where I want number 1. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and, you know, start to bring this down in here. And let's see here. Can I get it? Can you believe that? I got it first shot. I dropped it right in there. Okay, that's number 1. I got number 1 right here. That's where I want it. Okay, now the next trick. So what I need to know is this number, okay? So I know my number 1's pointed right there. So I'm looking right there. Now I can look in here and do this. I'm actually gonna pull this off for you guys to be able to see it, okay? All right, so we know the pointer's that way. We know our number 1's about there. So we know we're real close, okay? There we go. So now I'm still pointed the rotor right at my number 1. So next, what I want to do is you see these little pointers? See? If you can see it or not. But you got a point here and a point here. When those 2 points touch, that's actually where it fires. Okay? So what I want to do is I want to line up, man, that one may work better for you. You can really see that one. So every time these 2 points touch each other, that's when it fires, okay? So if I have it in at 10 degrees before, or say you had it at 30, and you put it, and you line them 2 up right there, okay? You lined them up and lock this down. When you go to fire this thing up, okay, you're going to be probably within like 2 degrees of where you want to be. It'll nail it every time because you made it. You lined them up. You told the crank where you want to be. So now when you set it in, you're not doing that first initial fire up and guess and where is it at? Is it before it's kicking back when you're trying to start? You're rolling it back and forth. So that's a little trick. Thought you guys might like to see. But yeah, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to lock the distributor down, and then I'll put the cap and rotor back on, and then I am going to move on to starting the front drive, which, I've been painting and stuff. And then I guess while I'm doing that, I do have the dyno results and stuff. So when I come back, I will go over dyno results with you guys. How's that sound? But yeah, so that's an easy way to do distributors. Hope that helps. Wow, guys, did I mess up? I don't know how I messed up, but I did. And I'm just apologizing right now. Okay, there is a big chunk of footage missing when we finally got around to cutting this, like a month and a half late. I don't know what happened, but anyways, we're missing all the footage from putting the front drive on and stuff. So just pretend we did that. And we're missing, going over the numbers footage. So I wanted to take a second and just give you a little, welding of the exhaust on the end here while I give you the numbers of where the engine ended up at. So, as you know, it is pretty much a stock 454. It is 60 over, and we did a cam and we did all that. You guys know all that. So, the final dyno numbers. When Zach's, phone honks at us right in the middle of it. The engine ended up being at, God, I should have read this first. Here we go. Sorry. So, the engine ended up being 470 horsepower at 5,200 RPMs. And it ended up being 565 foot-pounds of torque at 2,500 RPMs. So here's what's the crazy numbers though. This motor, stock Ola, probably this motor weren't even this good because of how bad it was inside. But stock, this motor would have made 243 horsepower at 3,800 RPM. So we're making at that same 3,800 RPM, 386 horsepower. So significantly more, and that would be peak horsepower for stock, and we're going to keep going and making a lot more all the way up to 5,200. Now, as far as the foot-pounds of torques on this engine, stock Ola is 375 at 3,200 RPMs. At 3,200 RPM, we are at 559 foot-pounds of torque. I mean, incredible. What's crazy is this thing's making 565 foot-pounds of torque at 2,500 RPM, and it just stays all the way through. This engine turned out magnificent as far as a towing engine. I mean, we're talking we're into diesel numbers here in a big block. So pretty excited about that. So I just wanted to come on here and give you the numbers while you watch me weld for a second, and apologize for missing the front drive. We're going to give you the video from the KBS right in behind this where we're getting the headers ready to go, and we're going to try to get all these videos caught up because we are like 2 months behind. So we're doing our best. We have a lot of things going, and YouTube is kind of hard to always stay up on top of, but we're doing our best, and we got a lot of stuff coming. So please keep watching and keep sharing. And I guess I'm gonna weld a little bit of this exhaust up for you, and we'll be on to the next video. Hey fellas. Put on the exhaust system. If you can't tell. We went with the Black Widows. They're the king sound. So that's why I went with it. And she's America. Okay? America. So I went with the biggest ones they got, the 300s. And it says it don't drown. No drones. This thing won't be flying at all. So, Zach don't think it's going to be quiet. I think it's going to be quiet as a church mouse. Now, so yeah, we went ahead, run the 3-inch all the way up with a 2.5 crossover. And, I'm dumping them right out the side because that's the right thing to do. But I got to tack this one side in, and then I got to build out that side. And once that's done, I can drop the whole thing out and then flip it over and weld it all up, put it all back in the trunk because it all just drops out, one big piece. It seems easy. In my mind, it was easy. We'll find out here in just a bit. But I gotta get back to work. I can't just screw off like Zach's been doing today. Some of us have to work around here. Make stuff happen.